right, y'all. Welcome to the Blessed Beyond Measure podcast. I'm your host, CL The Source. Thank you once again for tuning in. And today I have a very important guest that I'm bringing on board. It's my sis. We got some important conversations to talk about, and I think it is going to provide tremendous value to anybody that's listening. And, you know, my hope is after we have this conversation that if it relates and connects to you, hopefully it can provide some hope and some good kind of direction for you in your life that just helps, get yourself to a better place. Whatever it does for you, hopefully it moves you in a better place. But today, as you can see, I have a special guest. Her name is Liz Organo. That's my sis right there. What's up, sis? How you doing?
Good, and yourself?
I'm great. Thanks for making the time out and doing this. We've been meaning to do this for a while, huh?
I know. What, a month or two?
I know. We've been like back and forth on the text trying to get this sorted out. We almost didn't even make it happen today. That's funny fact is I was trying to get her to, find a quiet place in the house she's in, and she was like, yeah, it's a madhouse right now. So
It is.
she was about to do it in the car, and I was like, it's cool, let's do it in the car then. But she managed to find a space, and it looks like she got Winnie the Pooh in the background with a pot of honey.
My niece made that.
Oh, awesome. Niece is super talented. I can see that. I can literally tell that was Winnie the Pooh. How old's your niece?
She is a freshman. My oldest is a freshman in high school. And then her sister is in first grade.
Dope. That's dope. That's a super cool piece back there too. So I can see she's an aspiring artist.
Yeah, she is. She's really talented. She's in like cheerleading. She's studious. She's like the ideal daughter.
That's awesome.
She's
That's
too
awesome.
good.
That's awesome. And I could tell you're very family oriented, Liz. You know what I mean? Which is dope.
Family first.
Exactly. You're Filipino, so I think that's kind of embedded in our culture. I'm Filipino as well, obviously. So family is super important to me. It's always family first for sure. And I know that that's for sure about you too. I kind of got that sense from when I first met you.
Always.
How big is your family, by the way?
Shoot, really big.
Really? You got
And
one of the big old Filipino families?
I want a big family. Well, just me and my siblings, there's four of us, two girls, two boys. My cousins, I have basically they say we can have like our own baseball team.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. That's
Or
crazy.
football team, actually, sorry.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, Filipinos, man, we got some big ass families. I'm not gonna lie. Like on the other side of my families, like my auntie's side, she got like 14, 15 brothers and sisters with hella kids of their own. Like
Yeah,
damn,
see.
Filipinos, I don't know if that was intentional or they just didn't know how to find no damn condoms. But we got
No, we
big
just
ass
love
family,
the company.
huh?
We just love the company.
Oh, for real. Yeah, now for real. Family is huge in our culture, which I always appreciate. Like, fortunately, I'm so thankful that like I'm super close to my family. I'm glad that you are too. And Cheyenne is being able to grow up in an environment like that for sure, right? So
Yeah.
which is one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on here, talking about family. And I know that you're a new mother. Your daughter just turned one about a month ago. Was it about a
Yeah.
month ago? Yeah.
August.
Yeah, she just turned one. So, and prior to us recording, you were telling me that she is basically in her terrible twos right now, climbing all over stuff and all of that stuff. So how how is
Um,
how is motherhood going for you?
it's doing great. I love it. I'm learning every day. She is a handful right now, but I know it's all worth it.
She is absolutely adorable too. And I know that you take motherhood very, very seriously. So serious to the point where if you want to show that new tattoo that you got on your arm, you got baby Cheyenne on your arm right there.
Of
Get
course.
her, man. That's just crazy. That
It's
looks
so dope.
like
Shout out to Ian at hold on, let me find his
Instagram.
No, the shop he works at, because I don't want to butcher the name because I've
Show.
been butchering it.
For sure. And it's
But
such a dope piece. I saw you posted on Instagram and I was like, oh my God. It literally looks just like Shy. If y'all ever seen Shy before, it literally looks just like her.
I'll show you the comparison too. But basically, he works at Rich in Flesh Tattoo in Livermore.
Okay.
Shout out to Ian.
Shout out to Rich and Flesh Tattoo in Livermore. And what was the name of bruh?
Ian.
Ian. Shout out to Ian, man. That was a dope piece. We see you out here, man. That's work. That's art. And prior to us recording, oh, go ahead. Let me see that.
Oh no, I was gonna show you that.
The original picture.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, you can't
Yeah, it's
see
not
it.
showing up. Yeah, it's all good.
Uh-uh.
We'll post it. We'll post it on Instagram or something like that after the episode's recorded.
Yeah.
But prior to us recording, you were telling me that it was like a 12-hour session, and I was like, "What the fuck? That's crazy."
Just because it was a portrait of her, so he wanted to make sure that it still looked like her, because it's rare to find an artist who will be able to incorporate like a picture into a tattoo.
Mm,
So this was actually one of his first like real big tattoos.
really?
Yeah. So he draws, but he doesn't really, or he just started doing tattoos like about a year ago. And he did one portrait of a little girl, and I liked it. And that was the only one that he's ever done.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, should I trust him? So I was like, okay, Liz, just do it. Just do it. Cause I like always wanted a picture, or I was already planning to get a picture of her, but I was looking for an artist to do it. And all like the major artists in the Bay Area was super busy. So I was like, okay, well, let me try him out. At first, it was supposed to be a lion. And then, like 2 days prior to getting it tattooed, I was like, oh, can we just use my daughter's face because I really want that. And so he's like, well, it's gonna be a longer session because of the realism that the tattoo will need. And
Mhm.
so I was like, okay, that's fine. And so he's like, well, it's gonna be about 10 to 12 hours.
Ooh.
And I said, okay, well, it's worth it. Let's do it. I asked him too. I was like, is it going to be a split sessions, or is it going to be split sessions? And he said, well, it's up to you. I suggest that we do it all in one day or one session, just so we don't lose any like any details or anything like that. So we did it in one day.
And it came out super dope too. And that's dope that
No.
this is only his, I think you mentioned his second portrait. So kudos to you for allowing him to do that, because I mean a lot of people probably would have been kind of scared off because he
Yeah.
really, exercised or not exercise, but he didn't really have much experience in that field just yet. So for you to trust him with that was kudos to you. And it came out great. So shout out to the boy Ian, man. Right
I
on.
know.
That shit looks clean. So,
So
anybody
in love
looking to
with
get
it.
tatted up, check them out over at that shop for sure. But clearly you getting your daughter's portrait painted, tattooed on your arm, she means a great deal to you. So can you tell me, what it means to you of like what being a mother means to you so far?
Um, It means everything. It means dropping all the nonsense from the past or plans in the future to circle around her.
Mm.
Like she is everything I've ever dreamed of. She's my best friend. It's just the best feeling ever.
That's awesome. That's seriously beautiful. That bond between a mother and daughter is like no other,
Yeah.
and or mother and child, right? Really? Because she's such a huge piece of you. You created her, You know what I mean? You and your partner, obviously, but like she is just, she's you. And I'm pretty sure you probably already see a lot of similarities from your personality that already kind of run through her. Is that correct? Would you say that's correct?
Oh my gosh, she looks dead on like her daddy, but her personality, my mom tells me every single day she has my attitude.
Oh
Like
wow.
straight mini me. Like the the attitude, it reminds my mom of me. She's like, "You're a little Liz, you're a little Liz. You look like your daddy, but you're Liz."
That's so cute. That is so cute. And she's talking a little bit right now, right? Like she's,
Yeah.
yeah. That is, oh
Well,
my
unfortunately, I wish she would say mama, but she says dada a lot.
God. She'll get there. She'll get there eventually. I was with my friends last night and I spent time with my little niece and she's like almost 2. I think she's gonna be 2. I'm not sure if it's this year or next year, but either way, she's still very small. She's running around, but she's so cute, and it's just so fun to, watch children's mannerisms because they're so curious, they're so excited, they're so like naturally happy and playful. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just so cool to watch. Like, they don't need all this crazy stuff to make them happy. You know what I mean? They need bubbles. They need looking at like plants. You know what I'm saying? And it's just so awesome to kind of see them, just so their spirit is so alive. And I see that in Cheyenne too, because she's just so playful, she's
Happy.
yeah, she's so happy. She's scared at first, but when she warms up to you, she really like, she becomes playful, she laughs, she's just
Yep.
like joyous, and it's such a beautiful thing, you know what I mean? I'm sure you enjoy that about, being with your daughter too,
Yes.
huh?
It's the joy.
Yeah, and that's a great way to kind of segue into what I was going to ask you next. What are some of the joys of motherhood for you that you've kind of picked up on so far?
Just waking up and being with her every day. It's the best feeling. Watching her grow, her little personality coming out, like the little things she does, learning on her own. Um, just having like a little mini best friend for life.
Mhm.
It's the best.
That's awesome. What are some of the challenges that you have with motherhood right now?
um, I am really scared that what the future or like how she'll be raised, especially in the world we are today, and
Hmm.
especially because of the whole um Black Lives Matter stuff. She is part black, so like I am like every day hoping that the world gets better. Just because I don't want her to grow up with hate. I teach her a lot of love, so I hope that helps. But you can only do so much as a parent because you can't really protect them 24/7. You can't be there to like take the bullet for them or like take the rap for them. So
Mhm.
it's kind of hard. I just really hope that I instill a good future for her. Um, that's the only major challenge. I mean, there's like challenges where she doesn't listen, she has attitude, but that changes and it comes with motherhood.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a huge responsibility, and it's interesting that you say that because the climate of the world that we live in right now is clearly, um, it's very shaky, to say the very least, right?
Yeah.
Before I even continue on that thought, I really want to kind of just like also, as kind of shaky as it is, we are in 2021 and we also have made tremendous progress from where we were before,
Yeah.
even though, the news televises how crazy it is, and, it's constantly fear mongering, and, we should be well aware that there is a lot of crazy stuff going on, but we have made a lot of progress as humanity, as people. There's still a lot of atrocities, a lot of, injustices, a lot of unnecessary things that are happening, and violent acts, a lot of suffering going on for sure. But at the same time, there is so much more awareness, I want to say, and I feel like more people are actually, you know, they're coming to the call, I guess, you know what I mean? And, standing up for what's right, standing up for injustices, making progress, trying to make a difference in the world. So going back to what you were saying, you only hope that the world gets better. I think that is the case. I like to believe that things are getting better, rather than focus on a lot of the bad stuff. But that doesn't mean that I'm not aware that there's bad stuff going on. It's, you turn on your phone, you go on Instagram, you're going to see something bad like almost all the time. You
Yeah.
turn on the news, hardly ever they're reporting anything good, and it's crazy.
That's so
So
true.
yeah, and like, I'm so happy to hear that you take that responsibility very serious, because what you're going to do is you're going to help model a citizen. Like, she's going to grow up to be a citizen in this world, right? And she's going to be able to contribute to the world and to the society, and to help make this world a better place. You know what I'm saying? And I think that
Oh,
you're doing a great job. What's that?
sorry, hold on. Give me a sec. My
You're
nephew's crying.
It's all good. Sorry, y'all. Just a brief pause in the action here, but we got Liz back. Liz, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
But what I was saying, continuing my thought, was really just, I'm so happy that you take that responsibility as a mother seriously, and because that's going to help raise a model citizen that's going to help make the world a better place for all of us, for my future kids, for everybody's future kids, for all of us. And I actually am very optimistic about the future for a lot of these newer generations, because they're a lot smarter than we were, or than we are. I think, to be honest with you, like, they're picking things up faster. They have access to a lot of different resources that can really help them kind of mold what they believe in and everything like that. Obviously, it's a much different landscape than we grew up, and our parents grew up, and our parents grew up in. But I think that the future is bright for a lot of the newer generation. But I did want to say that I'm so happy that you're also like raising her in a lot of love. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Yeah.
think that love is such an important ingredient, and it's probably like, in my opinion, it's the strongest power in this world. And I feel like with love we can conquer anything. And that sounds like some hippy dippy shit, but I really believe that. You know what I mean? And if we just like took the time to kind of like approach things more from a loving standpoint rather than a fearful standpoint or a judgmental standpoint, I think things could be better. We can communicate better, things can get done better. So kudos to you for choosing that approach and raising your daughter. But I wanted to ask you, prior to becoming a mother, what was your kind of like idea of what a mother should be?
That is the hardest definition or question, because a lot of people ask it. There is no right definition of what a mother or what a good mother is, but I believe it's just like any woman who can overcome any obstacle in their life, a woman willing to better her life for her child or children, um, a mother who instills love and the good in her children.
Yeah, I, that's beautiful. I think that's natural, right? For sure. And you seem to embody all of that. So I'm curious, what was life like prior to, baby girl Cheyenne coming into this world?
It was reckless. I did not care what was going to happen to me. I was naive, careless, spontaneous. What happens, happens. Um, just young.
Yeah, I've been there for damn sure. I'm saying, in many ways that still kind of is in me. It's something that I try to work at every day and improving myself. Would you say that having Shy like kind of helped you kind of see life in a different light?
Yeah, it actually really has. It changed my life tremendously. Um, just not as an individual to this world, but like a person. Yeah, I guess.
Sorry, you cut out real quick. Can you say the last part again?
Just as a overall person.
Just as an overall person.
Yeah, it
That's
has
dope.
changed.
Do you feel like your mission in life just like completely changed? Obviously, you're not just living for yourself anymore, right? You're
Yeah,
for another human person that like literally needs you. You know what I mean? Needs you to be your
exactly.
best self, right? They need you to be healthy. They need you to be taking care of yourself
Mentally.
because if you love them like we say we love them, we got to protect them with everything that we got and be the best
Exactly.
versions of ourselves, right? So that's dope. I'm like that's why like I know that like because I've been around Shy, like she's gonna be raised around a lot of love for sure, and she's gonna be raised confidently, and she's gonna be a strong little girl. I can already sense that in her right now because she's so like she's so curious. I think I've seen her several times on your Instagram trying to climb on some shit. Like,
Oh my god.
to be real, that's one of my biggest fears is in becoming a parent eventually when I do, God willing.
Eventually.
But I'm gonna get my kids some helmets, like but I know it's part of the program though. It's inevitably gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
Earlier, you can't be with them every step of the way. And you would like to, but it just isn't possible. That's why, like for real, like I mentioned, that's one of my biggest fears because like when I see a kid run, I get super scared. Like because they're never looking where they're running, like they're just running. And I'm like,
Yes.
you are about to fall and bust your head. And I'm like, damn. That's why I'm just about to get a bubble for my baby. But
I wish I could get that for Shy, but
no, but now for real though, that's something I'm gonna have to overcome because I know eventually when I do have kids, again, God willing. But like if I do have kids, like I have to overcome that fear too, because like they're going to go through those situations. And you know what's interesting? Like I'm not a parent, but I do notice that like different parenting styles when I've seen my friends or my cousins' kids or my relatives' kids like fall and like hit their head or like just like scratch themselves or just and they start crying rather than like and I love this approach, but rather than like coddling them right away like, oh poor baby, it's okay, like a lot of people I've seen lately, they've been like approaching it from more like, oh you're good, like you're good, right, like look, you're good, because then the kid starts to like change their relationship to pain, change their relationship to like what's the uncomfortability, and they're kind of like, oh, this is not so bad, I don't need to, you know what I mean, and then
yeah, it's
I
not as
actually
worse as
really
it
love it.
is.
Exactly. Do you kind
That's
of like put that out there for Shy a little bit?
yeah, that's actually really funny because I was with family yesterday and my brother-in-law um the other day Shy had fell or something happened and he's like no one panic or no one say like oh my gosh or like tend to her because children will see it as like oh I need to react to it so they'll start crying even though they're not hurting,
Mm.
like it's comforting to them that you're approaching them like comforting them when it's not as of a big deal. So the way that he did it, he was like just say you're okay, and then Shy looked at him and was like okay I guess he doesn't care or like it doesn't hurt. And so she was like, she just went about herself. And I said,
That's
okay,
dope.
I'm gonna start doing that.
That's super dope. And I can imagine, like again, I'm not a parent, but I can imagine though when your child is crying or she hurts themselves, like it's like you feel the pain yourself and you're just like you want to do everything to like comfort the baby and the kid, you know what I mean? So like I get how that can be difficult for a parent, but when I see like parents kind of like exercise that strategy, I'm like, yo, that's dope because I kind of see what it does like for the kid because I could see the progression of the child's face like when it's happening, like they're about to fall out and cry, but like when you're just like, no, you're good, right, look, like you show them like it's not as bad as like it feels, or because all of that stuff is new to them, right? Like, so, they, like, and I feel like that just sets them up later for, just being stronger, being a little bit more resilient. And I love that approach because again, that makes me feel a lot more confident for like the children in the next generation in the future. They're going to be stronger than I was growing up for sure. And, I'd say like, um, parenting styles have definitely evolved for sure. Where are you kind of like getting your parenting techniques from? Because you're obviously a new mother. Like, are you getting a lot more from your mom? Or are you watching YouTube videos? What are you doing?
To be honest, I was already told not to compare parenting skills with anyone because it's different. It's like every person is going to have their own personality. You can't, like, I can't raise Shy how I was raised. It's just not feasible.
No, I got you. I got you. And I think that's important too. Like your individuality should definitely shine through when you are raising your children. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think
So
that
go
uh-huh.
ahead.
No, go.
No, so I was gonna say, so I basically just basically wing it. Every day is a learning curve for me. It's like, oh, what should I do here? What should I do there?
Mm.
Like, she is teaching me how to be a parent.
Wow. Wow. Can you open up a little bit more about that? Like what does that mean to you exactly?
Basically, I don't have it page by page on how to raise her or how to deal with her. So every day there's something new that she does or she learns, and I have to react to it properly, and basically just learn how to deal with it every day or every single moment that we go through now.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Would you also like and I'm trying to put myself in your shoes for a second here. Again, I'm not a parent, so I can only kind of like, try to put myself in another person's situation and try to see if I can understand where they're coming from. And, I've seen it with like other parents too. And I always like to do that just to kind of imagine myself in the scenario when I do eventually have kids. But like, would you say that she also helps you increase your capacity to love and you increase your capacity for patience and increase your capacity for whatever else?
Yes, definitely, especially patience. Well, I've always been a patient person, but she has taught me how to really be patient. Like, I can't get mad at her for things that she does, like getting hurt. I want to get mad at her because she does it, but I have to remember that she doesn't know better. And I have to be really patient and like, yeah, I just have to be patient.
And teach her right and show her right from wrong, right? Like
Yeah.
try to help her kind of see things, right? Like I imagine that like is is challenging for sure because I well, I would say right now I'm a much more patient person than I was before. I was very impatient before. I had no type of capacity for patience, but I can imagine now. I can imagine if I was like a new father, and I wasn't in the headspace that I'm currently in right now, I would probably be losing my shit to be real. Cause I like kids, like I was just clearly saying, like I see them running around and doing some crazy shit. Like I just get scared, I get fearful, but that's something that like I have to kind of get over. And I know that like I can imagine for parents, that's probably a huge hurdle for them too. And you know, you we do our best, right? Like I'm well aware that my parents did their very best with raising me and how they knew how. So I used to harbor a lot of like resentment towards like, especially like my dad and, you know, my mom. But, you know, they were just doing the best that they could with what they knew. And, you know, I had to learn how to kind of just like let that go. And eventually when you kind of come to a space where, you know, you're an adult, you take responsibility for your own life, like, and you just you actually turn grateful. Like I was so thankful that, like, because, you know, given the circumstances that I grew up in, like, you know, we didn't have much when I was younger, you know, super young, like we didn't have much, but my dad always found a way to make it work. Like he
Exactly.
always, like, he had to work 3 jobs. He worked 3 jobs. You know, we lived, you know, when I was first growing up, we lived in like some sketch ass areas where there was like burglaries and robberies all the time. And, you know, and it was, but he made it work. But my resentment as a kid was that, like, I felt my dad was never there. You know what I'm saying? Because,
Mhm.
but that was because he was working. He couldn't attend none of my basketball games. My mom and dad broke up when I was a kid, you know, so my mom wasn't there. She had her own issues going on. So thank God for my grandma. So like I had a lot of like resentment growing up, but at the same time, like I came to a place more in my adult years where I recognized like they were doing the best that they could. And I'm just so thankful for my situation, especially in the Filipino community. Like, you know, like I have very loving, like a very loving family. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you could say the same thing for you. I'm sure like with a big old family like yours, you grew up in a lot of love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is dope. And I've, you know, I've had the pleasure of being around you and your family. I could see the bond that y'all have. So that's dope. You know what I mean? Can you tell
Uh-huh.
me a little bit what it means to you growing up in a Filipino community culture?
Um, well, it's kind of hard to say that I grew up in a Filipino culture because my dad was more Americanized. Um, but it's just I don't I don't really know. It's hard to say.
It's all good. I mean, hey, you grew up in, you grew up how you grew up, you know what I'm saying? But
Well, I do know that I was always brought or I was always raised to like do traditional. Like I never expected to have a child out of wedlock. Like I always imagined I was going to get married, have a house, be completely stable, and then have children or a child.
yeah,
But it's a different world now.
it's life. It's life. It doesn't always work out in that, you know, fairy tale type of
Yeah.
manner that people, you know, kind of, you know, that's the story that we being fed, and it's life, like, honestly. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Just me personally, I think that it's part of evolution, you know what I'm saying? And who's to say that we gotta live that life based on other people's kind of expectations or
Yeah,
expectations
exactly.
that were given to us, you know what I'm saying? As long as like you're happy, you know, you got a beautiful daughter. She's funny as hell, like and she's obviously freaking she's super curious. She's just a kid, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But yeah, it's what else did I want to talk to you about? So really, like, how did you have to, like, this is a good one. How did you have to kind of adjust your life, like being a new mother and in COVID?
Uh it or the pandemic or yeah, the COVID basically was a good and bad thing because I was able to care for Shy every day because I worked from home
Mhm.
and being able to provide for her daily to tend to her needs is a good thing. Um, Making sure she's healthy, she doesn't catch the variant that's going around. Um, yeah, just
So
making
where
sure she's
with work and all that stuff, did you was it, so you're telling me basically it was kind of a good thing that it happened because it allowed you to stay home from work and be with your kid 24 hours
Yeah.
a day. Especially,
Yeah.
so that's interesting because I always kind of look at it from a standpoint like, oh damn, this COVID shit really like messed shit up. But for you, it was actually kind of like almost perfect because it allowed you to be able to work from home and you know, as a new mom with a newborn child, like you got to be there every step of the way, which is like very important for a child's development, especially earlier on, right?
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's an awesome like perspective shift. So, going back to kind of like how life was like prior to, you having Shy. I know you mentioned that you kind of lived a reckless lifestyle, which is very similar to me. And trust me, I was reckless myself. Was, I was self-defeating in a lot of ways. I had um a lot of situations where I probably should have never got out of in terms of like I probably, you know, coming out alive. I put myself in situations in harm's way constantly. And I was just so like misdirected. And it was mostly because of it was a lot of my resentment, my rebelliousness. I was a lot of, me being young, dumb, and just not giving a fuck, to be honest with you. And I'm curious, what, if you don't mind, would you like to open up a little bit about your story?
Okay. You're the first to hear it. But so back in 2019, I went through depression, um, and just a lot of heartaches and feeling lonely, just everything possible. Um, I felt like I wasn't it wasn't worth living anymore. So back in 2019, I did attempt suicide. Um, I was just not in the best mental health. Um, yeah.
That's tough. That's tough. And, like we get to those places a lot of times in life where everything that's happening in our life is so erratic. There's so many different things going on, and it does become hard to deal with. I've been in a space like that, several times, especially in my younger years, when I was reckless. I was, doing a lot of drugs. I was, drinking a lot of alcohol, just staying out late, sleeping around. I was doing a lot of crazy shit, just not really valuing my life. And, I can very much relate to what you just said because, I've definitely been in dark spaces in my life and even planned out, how I was going to do it. I even went as far as to go as like what's the most effective way for me to do this without feeling that much pain. You know what I'm saying? And I almost did it. But fortunately for me, and fortunately for you too, I'm so glad that you're still here with us. Like, because when we get in those dark spaces, it's easy to feel like we're all alone, but there's actually so many other people that are going through those same things, and we're all connected. And I'm so happy that you had a fighting spirit. How did you kind of get yourself out of that situation, or like in terms of like mental headspace?
It's still a process. I'm still learning. Um, but the thing that mainly got me out of that headspace was the support system that I had. Um, the family and friends that was there for me every single step of the way. I had friends who made sure that to check on me every day when they found out, um, see if I needed anything. I had It's crazy because after the incident, um, after I got out of the hospital, I felt that my family got closer. It brought us closer just because they didn't know what was happening like internally with me. Like I'm always a happy person to be around. Like I don't show much emotions or like what's hurting me. I don't speak out. I'm not verbal. I don't communicate when I'm hurt. Um, and so they were surprised that that's how I even felt. But that's a majority of how incidents or suicides happen. A person feels empty, lonely, the world is against them, and so they don't reach out. Sorry. And they don't reach out and ask for help.
Yeah, yeah, that's very much the case for sure. Like it's easy to feel alone, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that you have a support system that you do have, and you were able to be around love when you got out of that, because that's an important thing to kind of recognize, that we have resources, we have people. Like there's a lot of different things you could do if you are feeling in a dark space. Like reach out. Like I think especially in like Filipino communities, like is the reason why we don't communicate is because it's almost like we perceive that to be like a sign of weakness, to
Yeah.
like ask for help, or like to show that we're in pain. Like that ain't weak at all. Like I'm here to say that right now, and I'm pretty sure you can agree with that. Like that is not weak at all. Like if you hurting and you need some help, ask for fucking help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like don't wait too long until you get to a point where you're actually gonna go forward with harming yourself, right? And because you just can't come back from that. And I'm so happy that you're still here with us, and kudos to you for fighting through that, and and still being here, because without you being here we wouldn't have little Shy. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
That's huh?
she is the main reason why like I changed my life. My mental health is way better. She is part of the reason why I am who I am and as strong as I am today.
Got it. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm so happy that it even like brought your family closer together, because that's so dope, right? Like, you obviously it's a situation that we wish would never ever happen. Like I wish nobody to ever go through some mental dark headspaces like that. But for you to come out of it and your family kind of emerge stronger and closer and have a more tight knit bond, it's just that's a great story to hear. And you're still writing your story, so you still have the opportunity to do so. Now you have a daughter with you, you know what I mean, and who's changed your life clearly. And I think that life is your whole purpose changes, right, as a mother. Like whereas before, you were for yourself. Now you have a little one looking out, that you got to look out for, right?
Yep, exactly.
So
There's
that's
always a purpose in life.
that's dope. That's dope. You're absolutely right. And that's like I was saying earlier with like Filipinos, right? Or I just think there's like certain people, not even Filipinos. I don't like to sound like I'm over here just bashing Filipino culture, but I'm speaking from my perspective. You know what I'm saying? And like I grew up, and I'm pretty sure similar to you, we didn't really express ourselves. We didn't really. It wasn't kind of, at least for me, it wasn't kind of encouraged to express ourselves. It was more
Yeah.
so like, what I seen from like my parents and my grandma, and it's just more so like hold that shit in, like, be strong,
Tough it up.
be strong, you suck it up, be strong. Like, and it's like, I think that's not even just a Filipino thing, right? That might also be just an American thing, or just a human nature thing sometimes. Like we all know life is tough, but like, you can't fucking just tell somebody to hold that shit in. You gotta like help them like deal with this shit, rather than fucking be like, yo, suck it up, keep going. Like, and I think that's why like I'm a lot more confident in the newer generations going up again, because a lot of that stuff's being brought to the forefront now. Mental health is such an important
Yeah.
topic of conversation. The stigma behind it's all changing. before I used to think like getting a therapist was like a sign of weakness too. Like, oh no, you don't need no therapist. What are people gonna think if I get a therapist? Blah blah blah. Like fuck that. Fuck what
That's
people think.
exactly what happened to me. Like I I didn't know how to express myself, and I always thought that if I know that it was confidential to go to a therapist, but keeping it all within me instead of getting professional help, I saw it as like, oh, you're crazy, or like you're weak, but it's not. It's like, reach out, put that pride shit to the side.
Right up.
Excuse my language, but put it to the side and just ask for help. Reach out. Like, it's always a good thing. There's people who will listen, be there for you. So,
Absolutely. And kudos to you again, Liz. I'm so happy that you're still here with us and you were able to fight through that and you're in a much better place now. Like, you seem to be doing very well. And I'm really happy to be talking to you right now because obviously it could have been a completely different situation. You wouldn't have been here. And like what you said is super important because it's actually not weak to ask for help. It's actually
it's not.
brave and courageous to be like, to admit and say like, yo, I am struggling with this and I need help, and reach out to the people that can help you and tap into the resources that can help you. And like, I'm so happy you said that because we have to change that stigma, not only for us but for like people behind us, our kids kids,
Future.
because holding that shit in only fucking hurts you more. It's like a heavy weight to carry, and like it fucks your head up, and you start getting into these dark spaces, and then you could do a lot of harm to yourself or others. And I think that it's so important to see this like shift in like mental health being a bigger issue that we all are paying more attention to, and I love that because it's going to help a lot of people, and we can all coexist peacefully. We can all find a place in this world. We all belong here. We're all born in this world. We all belong here, and if there's anybody out here listening to this podcast right now, this episode between me and Liz, just know that you belong here too. Like, we all belong here. If you're born into this world, like, you have every right to be here, and you're worthy. You know what I'm
You have
saying?
a purpose.
You have a purpose, and we want you here. You know what I'm saying? And there are people that are willing to help and willing to connect. And it's important that you make the actions necessary to help yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, with that being said, I know it's Suicide Awareness Month too, so it's a great kind of way to talk about this. And I know that you know that was really important for you to share. So thank you for sharing that, Liz. That takes a lot of courage on your part too.
Yeah. It's something new, but I believe that people, someone will get the good in this, and, you know, reach out, avoid hurting your loved ones. Like, there's always something, there's a purpose in life, and there's always something better after it.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. And I'm like, for my message to you, Liz, is keep fighting, keep growing, keep finding enjoyment in this whole journey, because now it's like you have this little one, and it's like there's so much excitement around that. There's gonna be so many new experiences. I would just like say, keep going. You know what I mean? And like we mentioned earlier in this episode, it's like important that you are the best version of yourself, for your little one, for yourself, but for your little one too. You know what I'm saying? And I think kids, they model everything that they see. You know what I'm saying? So if they see you, like for instance, like I already know, like when I have kids, again, God willing, um, when I have kids, I want to model the best way that I can. I don't want to be like fucking doing some self-destructive shit around them. Like I don't want to I don't want to like pass along any like of my trauma to my kids.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's why now, me not having a kid right now, it's an important time for me to kind of learn who the fuck I am and really start to address some of the demons so that eventually when I do have kids, like I am like as best that I can be. And I know I'm well aware too that like you can never be fully ready to be a parent, right?
Mm.
Like you just kind of like it happens,
Yep.
like I said earlier, life happens and you got to be prepared. So I just look at every kind of like day that I get to wake up and just try to like be a better version of myself. So eventually when I do have kids, like I'll be able to kind of like give them everything that like I want to give to them. You know what I'm saying? I can't
Yeah.
give what I don't got though, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's dope. I mean, um, before we get up out of here, I wanted to ask one more question. As a new parent, like what are some tips that you can give to some other new parents, like to help them? You know what I mean?
Um, don't quote me or like don't I don't want someone to be like, oh well Liz said to do this and then it comes out
It
hella
it ain't
negative.
gonna be all like that. It's more so like from your perspective, something that you could share that could, you know, help other parents.
Um well I suggest that don't expect it to be perfect. Um it's there's never a right time to have a child. So like if you say, "Oh, I'm not financially stable or I'm not ready to have a child," no one will ever be ready to have a child. But when the time does come, I think just make sure that you're raising them with love, the good, and make sure that their environment's stable. Don't ever bring your traumas onto them or show them. So like whenever I have a mental breakdown, like here and there, or like I'm really stressed, I try to not show shy that. So like I'll walk out of the room or like I'll have someone watch her while I go to the gym to take a little stress out. Um, just especially to moms, to females out there, we tend to be high and mighty, think we're independent, we don't need nobody, F everybody. But put that to the side and just ask for help. It takes a village to raise a child.
Wow.
Um, I never believed that. I was like, oh, I can do this. In the first months of raising or having Shy, I actually wanted to do it all on my own. Like I didn't ask my mom for help or my family for help. I didn't ask her dad to come watch her or things like that. But as time grew, I found that it was harder for me to try to man up and do it by myself. So I reached out and asked for help. So always have a good support system or
Gotcha.
try to have a good support system.
Right, right. Tap into some resources that you can,
Yeah,
like because
there's a
there are
million
resources.
resources.
Yeah, exactly. So that's great. I think that's a great way to kind of wrap things up here. What is there anything else that you kind of wanted to share before we get up out of here?
No,
Okay,
that's
cool. This
about
was
it. We went over everything.
this was a great discussion, Liz, and honestly, thank you again for your time. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you for having me.
Of course, and I definitely appreciate your story and your journey, and I want to continuously encourage you to just keep going, keep fighting, like for real, and try to find enjoyment out of this shit. Life is supposed to be fun. Yeah, that's one thing that I'm starting to realize more and more, Liz, is that like I get stressed out too, like just because I kind of like project that like I am in a much more peaceful state, which I am in very much in a much more peaceful state. Let's not get that mistaken, but I still have flaws, I still have triggers, I still have
Exactly.
things that really, I'm imperfect just like everybody else. Like nobody's perfect. We shouldn't be holding ourselves to this impossible standard. Let's just live our lives and do the best that we can and lead with love. Like I think that like that was one of the main themes that you kind of like shared throughout this conversation, was that love is super important. And I think that um as long as we're doing things from love, not from fear and all that stuff, like I think that like we can create a better outlook for ourselves, for our children, for our children's children, and for the future going forward. So just encourage you to just enjoy this, because we only get one of these things, and
Mhm.
you actually you have a second chance, you know what I mean? And I'm just so happy that you're still here with us. I'm sure Shy is damn happy that you're still here with us, and your family's happy, and your friends, and we're all happy that you're still here with us. And for anybody that's listening to this episode, I definitely want to just like encourage you to keep going as well. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes,
there is
keep
hope.
going.
Yes, keep going. Enjoy this life as much as you can. Feel what you need to feel, because I know it gets difficult sometimes, but reach out for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Don't feel like you're all alone in this shit, because I felt that. I know Liz clearly just said she felt that. And that's not the case. There's, especially in this day of internet age, like we can reach out to like all sorts of, like, come on now,
Exactly.
I
It's
make friends with
endless.
people all across the world. It's crazy. So
Yep.
but yeah, with that being said, y'all, I really appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank you once again for tuning in to the Blessed Beyond Measure podcast. I'm your host, CL the Source. This is Liz Organo, and maybe we'll do this again sometime, sis.
Yes, different topic.
All right, bet.
I'm down.
Thank you, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Stay blessed, y'all.
Bye.